A conflict in North Korea, John, would be probably the worst kind of fighting in most people's lifetimes. Why do I say this? The North Korean regime has hundreds of artillery cannons and rocket launchers within range of one of the most densely populated cities on earth, which is the capital of South Korea. We are working with the international community to deal with this issue. This regime is a threat to the region, to Japan, to South Korea, and in the event of war, they would bring danger to China and to Russia as well. But the bottom line is it would be a catastrophic war if this turns into combat, if we're not able to resolve this situation through diplomatic means. It is a direct threat to the United States. They have been very clear in their rhetoric. We don't have to wait until they have an intercontinental ballistic missile with a nuclear weapon on it to say that now it's manifested completely. We consider it a direct threat even today, the North Korean threat. As far as that specific threat, I don't want to put a timeline on it at this time. What we know, I'd prefer to keep silent about, because we may actually know some things the North Koreans don't even know.
Welcome to the Trump Breaking News Network, your daily source for up-to-the-minute Trump news. Join us today and every day. Here's today's news.
This is TBNN.
Trump's North Korea options: place nukes in South Korea or kill Kim Jong-un. By Tyler Durden. With Syria down, it's now North Korea's turn. According to NBC News, the National Security Council has presented the suddenly ragingly bellicose President Trump with several options to respond to North Korea's nuclear program: put American nukes in South Korea or kill dictator Kim Jong-un. The scenarios were prepared in advance of Trump's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping this week. The White House has expressed hopes the Chinese will do more to influence Pyongyang through diplomacy and enhanced sanctions, but if that fails, and North Korea continues its development of nuclear weapons, there are other options on the table that would significantly alter U.S. policy. While General John Hyten, the commander of U.S. Strategic Command, maintained on Wednesday that any solution to the North Korea problem has to involve China, a senior intel official told NBC he doubted U.S. and China could find a diplomatic solution to the crisis. "We have 20 years of diplomacy and sanctions under our belt that has failed to stop the North Korean program," said the official involved in the review. "I'm not advocating preemptive war, nor do I think that the deployment of nuclear weapons buys more for us than it costs," but he stressed that the U.S. was dealing with a war-today situation. The nuclear option would mark the first overseas nuclear deployment since the end of the Cold War, a move that would promptly provoke global condemnation, not least of all by China. It was not immediately clear if South Korea's regime, in turmoil recently following the recent impeachment and arrest of ex-President Park, had been consulted with the proposed strategy. The U.S. withdrew all nuclear weapons from South Korea 25 years ago. This option is also facing domestic pushback. "I don't think that deploying nuclear weapons is a good idea. I think that it will only inflame the view from Pyongyang," retired Admiral James Stavridis and former NATO commander told NBC News. "I don't see any upside to it because the idea that we would use a nuclear weapon even against North Korea is highly unlikely." South Korea's sentiment aside, NBC notes that the U.S. Air Force leadership doesn't necessarily support putting nuclear weapons in South Korea. As an alternative, it's been practicing sorties right out of the depths of the Cold War, long-range strikes with strategic bombers, sending them to the region for exercises and deploying them in Guam and on the peninsula as a show of force. The second, and just as controversial option, is to kill North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and other senior leaders in charge of the country's nuclear program. "The overt regime overthrow option has huge downsides," said Mark Lippert, the former U.S. ambassador to South Korea, who also served as an assistant defense secretary under President Barack Obama. "Discussions of regime change and decapitation tends to cause the Chinese great pause of concern and tends to have them move in the opposite direction we would like them to move in terms of pressure," he said. Quoted by NBC, Stavridis, said that decapitation is always a tempting strategy when you're faced with a highly unpredictable and highly dangerous leader, especially for a nation like the U.S. He did not add. The question you have to ask yourself, he said, is what happens the day after you decapitate? I think that in North Korea, it's an enormous unknown. In any case, the groundwork has already been laid. As reported 1 month ago, elite U.S. forces, including Delta Force and SEAL Team 6, have been conducting drills on taking out Kim Jong-un, as well as practicing tactical North Korea infiltration. All they need is the green light. A third, bonus option, is covert action, infiltrating U.S. and South Korean special forces into North Korea to sabotage or take out key infrastructure, for instance, blowing up bridges to block the movement of mobile missiles. The CIA, which would oversee such operations, told NBC News it could offer no guidance on this option. But Stavridis said that he felt it was the best strategy should the U.S. be forced to take military action. He described such action as some combination of special forces with South Korea and cyber. One wonders if the CIA creating a false flag attack on South Korea, or China, using chemical weapons was one of the options under consideration. Trump has already indicated he's open to unilateral action if China fails to rein in its ally, telling the Financial Times last weekend, "If China is not going to solve North Korea, we will." Until last night, his words were largely dismissed as more bluster, however, having just demonstrated how quickly Trump is willing to launch offensive operations, having U-turned on his Syrian position in less than a week, suddenly the possibility of nuclear war with an irrational adversary does not look all that distant.
That's the news. Join us here every day. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell. See you next time.
This is TBNN.
This is all 101 game theory, folks. It's not even very hard. Russell from Alaska. Russell, thanks for calling.
Hi, sir. Just real quick, I wanted to say this is more of a message towards the president himself. Over the years, we were in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm an Army veteran myself. I spent almost 12 years in the military. We lost almost 7,000 soldiers over there alone. That's not counting the guys that came home but actually died over there already.
That's right, from all the chemicals and the biologicals and the DU, not to mention 22 suicides a day.
Exactly. And for what? We left. Nothing changed over there other than the fact that you have a radical Islamic terrorists over there that are killing people daily. We can't make the same mistake again.
I just don't know how Trump goes along with a story that's obviously fake, and then we have the very al-Qaeda people celebrating what he's done. And I don't want to criticize the president. He's doing good on a lot of domestic stuff. It's just that, I'm sorry, every veteran I know, everybody I know basically is against this.
No, and sir, and I agree with you. I disagree with what he did, but he's still the president, and I will support him and back him because I voted for him.
Well, let me raise this next point. I've studied the Korean War, looked at it in depth, talked to all the experts. They agree this is the biggest crisis ever since 1953 and the ceasefire. What do you make of this craziness? Because that's China and that's Korea starting all this.
Yes, sir. I did 2 tours in Korea, one in 2006 and one in 2009. And 2006 and both 2009, he launched rockets. I believe in 2006 he sank Kim Jong-il, I believe it was, sank a Korean fishing boat, and in 2009 they mortared one of the islands off the South Korean shores. I don't know his son. I know that Kim Jong-il, he was a lot of flair, but I don't know his son. And, it worries me because I still have friends there. And I just don't know.
Well, listen, I mean, this will quickly escalate into nuclear war. Kim Jong-un saying he will use the nukes he has and the missiles to hit the U.S. fleet that's out there. Obviously, we've got aircraft that can shoot those missiles down. But if he shoots a missile into the South China Sea near our ships, what is Trump supposed to do at that point?
Well, at that point, he doesn't have a choice.
So I tend to agree. I think Tillerson came out today and said, we don't want war with Syria. Al-Qaeda's the main issue, ISIS. And I think that's going back to his campaign promises. So I think we're seeing some positive things out of Trump right now. And that's what I was told this weekend and on Monday by White House sources that are absolutely as close to Trump as you can get.
Yes, sir. And so, like I said, the whole point I'm calling is, look, we don't want another situation like Iraq and Afghanistan with Syria. We didn't make any ground there. We're not going to make any ground in Syria. North Korea, look, if they start it, you know, I'm always one to say, if you're going to start it, I'm going to finish it. And if that's what has to happen, that's what has to happen. But I support our president, even if I don't agree with everything he does.
Well, we better support him now, exactly, because we've got China and North Korea threatening war and just crazy behavior going on. So what's happening is our president's being tested. And, folks, we're not in the position he's in. If he was trying to put bad justices in, if he'd have put a bad justice in, a liberal justice, or if he wasn't trying to cut our taxes, or if he wasn't getting all these factories to come back, I'd say he was a fake. He's doing so good on the domestic front that I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt while I criticize issues I see with Syria, hoping he gets better advice. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
God bless you, Russell. I appreciate your call. Yeah, it's a serious situation, to say the least. I mean, we don't want war with Russia. And Russia says more missiles get fired at their bases, their troops, they're going to respond. And the Russians tend to do what they say they're going to do. So let's go to Debit in Florida. Debit in Florida, you're on the air.
Great. Hey, thank you so much. Listen, I have bought your product, and I got to say they're amazing. Anyone who's on the fence, buy it, because I've got Caveman, Superman Vitality, Secret 12, Vitamin Mineral Fusion. I've got the body armor.
Wow, thank you.
Wow.
You're the type of listener that makes it all possible. Which nutraceutical does you like best?
I really like the Vitamin Mineral Fusion, to be honest. That's
amazing.
Really incredible. I drank it in the morning, and I swear to you, I felt incredible. Like, I haven't felt weak. My morning was fantastic, and I love you guys. I love the InfoWars crew, and I just want to, I want to take this opportunity to tell anybody out there who's on the fence, just buy it. You will love it. I'm telling you, I've never bought a bad product.
What you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfoWarsLife.com. It's a win-win, InfoWarsLife.com.
Your next Secretary of Defense, General Mad Dog Mattis. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, President-elect, for the confidence that you have shown in me. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful for the opportunity to return to our troops, their families, the civilians of the Department of Defense, because I know how committed they are and devoted they are to the defense of our country, the defense of our Constitution. And with our allies strengthened, with our country strengthened, I look forward to being the civilian leader so long as the Congress gives me the waiver and the Senate votes to consent. Thank you very much.
What a great guy. He's going to be incredible. He'll get that waiver, right? He's going to get that.